Merry Christmas, Miami Heat fan. Oh, no, yeah, that's right. Never mind. Anyways, like the rest of y'all, I'm sitting here trying to enjoy my Christmas day when we get an absolute shams bomb drop in which he tweets out that 6-time NBA All-Star Jimmy Butler prefers a trade out of Miami ahead of the February 6th trade deadline. So, of course, I'm sitting here. I'm freaking out. Everyone that I texted Merry Christmas, I'm texting back, never mind. But I don't want to freak out just yet, because one of the things that I hate the most about our society in general is nobody reads anymore. They just read headlines and run with it. And a lot of times that's how misinformation gets spread. So in this Shams tweet, he actually did attach an article. So I went ahead and read the full article. I know, interesting concept, right? And now I don't know how to feel, because it was a very, very confusing one. But for those of y'all that have not read the article yet, let's go ahead and do it together real quick, because it is a short read. So, of course, we got the headline here that says, sources, Heat's Jimmy Butler prefers trade out of Miami. Now, that certainly sounds like a formal trade request, although I've never really heard the term prefers. Whenever you hear about these stars demanding a trade, it either says they demand a trade or request one. So the wording here is a bit interesting, but let's go on to read. As he says, ESPN reported in the Inside Pass on December 10th that the Heat are willing to listen to trade offers for Butler, and that Butler wants a win-now contender in any deal. Butler has not formally requested a trade, sources said, but is believed to be ready for his exit. So, of course, the first sentence in this paragraph, by the way, this is basically the entire article, that one paragraph. The rest is just fluff, because if we move on, the next paragraph just talks about Jimmy's current contract situation. The following two paragraphs talk about Jimmy's potential preferred trade destinations, which is the Suns and the Warriors and the Mavericks and the Rockets. All stuff that we already knew for months now. And then the remaining few paragraphs is just fluff about the rest of the team, Bam's roster construction, Jimmy's age and stats, and then, of course, how close the Heat were to a championship after beating the Celtics in 2023. So really, anything past this second paragraph right here is just fluff. And this second paragraph is what? 2 sentences? The first one is just him reiterating his report that he had a couple weeks ago, saying that basically the Heat are listening to offers. But it's this second sentence which basically refutes his headline of the entire article, in which I'll read it again. He says Butler has not formally requested a trade, but is believed to be ready for his exit. So obviously I'm sitting here reading this article and I'm wondering, well, this sure sounds like a whole bunch of nothing. But why come out with this on Christmas Day? Like, of course, there was a whole lot of speculation on the last time he did his Heat Jimmy report that everyone was freaking out about. But there was people saying that, oh, the Lakers didn't play today. There's no good game. So ESPN needs something to talk about, right? But that's not the case today. It's Christmas Day, which is the biggest game for NBA, or which is the biggest day for NBA of the entire regular season. Obviously, why would ESPN want to put out a distraction from the games that are literally beginning in 17 minutes from the time of this recording, which is the first Spurs versus Knicks game? So I should put that into context too. I'm recording this just before noon on Christmas Day. So if anything else comes out, we'll talk about it then. But I wanted to give this tweet, I believe, was like an hour ago from Shams, and I wanted to give it some time to see what else would come out, because, like I said, I was very confused. So I wanted to see what some of the other more in tune local guys had to say about this. So I'm sitting here refreshing Twitter, hoping for some kind of explanation. And then down from the heavens comes our Lord and Savior, Barry Jackson, in which he tweets out, per source, Butler has not demanded a trade and would play out the year with the Heat if they don't trade him, but he would be fine with the trade as well after Heat declined to give him his extension. So basically, we're back at square one. There's nothing new here at all. Maybe. I don't know. Barry does go on to say that as long as Butler doesn't make this into a circus, he would be okay taking the soap opera into July unless it gets an appealing offer before February 6th. And then he basically just ends the tweet by saying Butler could force Heat hand if he becomes highly disruptive, but he hasn't yet. So I know this all sounds like nothing, but I do typically buy into the ideology of when there's smoke, there's fire. And there's a lot of this going on, and it has started to become a little bit weird. Barry Jackson did follow up these tweets with another one saying, we disclosed two other things that caught Butler off guard with the Heat beyond not getting a contract extension done. And then he says, by the way, Butler was the only Heat player not at the Christmas party at Pat Riley's home yesterday. Although he says, though all parties say Jimmy's missed the party before, so don't read into it. So I know I'm not going to read into the Christmas party. I don't know what Jimmy Butler does on Christmas Eve and whatnot. But I will say, I don't think Jimmy would ever make this a circus. I think it's very possible that he does want out of the Miami Heat, but he's looking to do it in a respectful way. Because I do believe he does have a lot more respect for this organization than he had for the Bulls or had for the Timberwolves or had for the 76ers. Because we did hear him speak out many times negatively about those situations and about the poor culture that they have there. But we know he has an affirmation for the Miami Heat. He's said as much. He has said more things about the Miami Heat in his first 2 seasons here than he has in all of his other stops combined. So we know he loves it here, but I do think he sees the writing on the walls that this is not a championship build, and it's highly unlikely they can get to that level before Jimmy's prime is over, which who knows if it's already over. So I think kind of where we stand now is in the same spots. Jimmy would be willing to move on, but it's only if it's to a contender. And the reality is, I just don't think that trade is out there at this point. I think the Heat are still willing to roll the dice and take Jimmy into free agency, knowing that he won't find the money out there that he wants, because the only team with cap space presently is the Brooklyn Nets. And why would Jimmy want to go there? Unless he just wants the absolute bag, I guess. But I did read Barry's article that he attached to his last tweet where he talked about some other things that kind of caught Jimmy Butler off guard. I won't put that article up here because y'all should go pay for the Miami Herald because Barry Jackson does great work over there. But anyways, what Barry kind of mentions in that article is that, one, of course, Jimmy was frustrated he did not get his contract extension. And two, Jimmy was also frustrated by Pat Riley's comments at the last postseason presser, where basically Jimmy started off by saying, oh, if I was healthy, we would have beat Boston, we would have beat New York. And Pat Riley said, as long as you're not on the court, you should keep your damn mouth shut. And at the time, people were kind of freaking out about that too. They said, oh, I don't think Jimmy's going to take that well. He's going to demand a trade. And I thought the opposite. I thought Jimmy likes people who are honest and tell him like it is. I think he appreciates tough love. So I thought he would enjoy that. But now in this Barry article, we're finding out that at least Jimmy's camp is indicating that he did not like those comments. And if that's the case, I got to say I do have a little bit of a bone to pick with Jimmy Butler because, for one, I think Pat Riley was absolutely right. Now, I am certainly not by any means a Pat Riley defender because I think he has absolutely failed this organization in the Jimmy Butler build. Not just him, but the rest of the front office as well, whether it's Andy Ellisberg or Adam Simon or whoever the hell is making these decisions to not go all in, not trade the young guys. So the front office has certainly done a terrible job finishing this build, right? But I do think Pat Riley was absolutely right. If you're Jimmy Butler and you're not out there on the court in the playoffs, and you were resting and playing lackadaisical the entire regular season so you could be ready for the playoffs, and then you still weren't there, what the hell are you doing talking about what would have happened if you were out there? You weren't out there. That's the facts. We could speculate what would have happened if you were there, and sure, I do think that he could have beat Boston if Jimmy was there, but he wasn't. So there's no point in speculating on that. And I do appreciate that brutal honesty from Pat Riley, because I do feel like Pat Riley has sort of softened up over these last couple seasons. He hasn't been willing to make the cutthroat decisions to trade some of these young guys like Jaime or Jovic or Tyler. But I do feel like him in that press conference was him getting kind of some of that toughness back. And I appreciated that from him. And if Jimmy Butler was hurt by that, I think that's BS. I really, really do. Because the other thing that Pat Riley really hammered home in that press conference is he did not question Jimmy's talent, his abilities. He did not do that. He questioned his availability. And Jimmy Butler wanted the max extension. Pat Riley said, no, you need to show us that you're available. And so far, we're here 27 games into this season, and Jimmy Butler has not shown that he's been available. So who are you, Jimmy Butler, to ask for your max extension when you've missed 25% of the games this season? The Heat have played 27. Jimmy Butler's played 20 games. That means he's missed literally damn near a quarter, just 1% of a fraction less than a quarter of the season that Jimmy Butler's missed. So far, it's looking like Pat Riley was absolutely right about you. Because you see right now, this Heat team is one game above 500. I know a lot of I'm not necessarily blaming Jimmy. I'm not necessarily blaming any one person. But the point is, you have not been available to the degree of that a max player should be. A guy who's going to be asking for $60+ million a year until you're 37. If you are not available to play most of the games now at 35, what do you think, Jimmy Butler, that you're going to be able to do when you're 36, 37? And as a Miami Heat organization, I completely understand that them not wanting to tie up a large chunk of their cap space to a guy that has shown he is not available. That's just the truth of the matter. Now, I know that sounds pretty negative with regards to Jimmy Butler, but the truth of the matter is I want to retain him. I don't know if I'd say retain him at all costs, but damn near it. The last thing I want to do is see Jimmy Butler walk out of this organization, because I do believe that as long as he is on your team, you have a theoretical chance at winning a championship, because I think that Jimmy Butler is the definition of a superstar. I've said it time and time again, because a superstar to me is not a guy who does it in the regular season and folds in the playoffs. A superstar is not James Harden. It's not Paul George. It's not. People are going to disagree with me on that. But those guys consistently come up short in the playoffs. Whereas a guy like Jimmy Butler, he raises his game to an absolutely elite, iconic level come playoff time, and that's a superstar. So from a talent aspect, I believe that he still has a lot left in the tank as far as his peak, in a playoff setting. I believe that he can be a 1A on a championship team. And for those reasons, I think you got a championship window in theory when he's on your roster. And most teams would kill to even have a championship window. And I understand Jimmy's age, your theoretical window would only be another year or two. But I take that. I still go all in. I still trade the young guys. I would still trade Tyler Hero right now. As he sits here, he should be an all-star. I love Tyler Hero, but his trade value is at an all-time high. So if you can go out there and get someone who is better, I don't know who that is at this point. We got to see if someone becomes disgruntled. I would do it. And if it's not him, if Joel Embiid doesn't become available, even that's a terrible example. That guy doesn't play basketball. Forget I said that. But, if a Giannis doesn't become available, or Anthony Edwards or whoever, I'm not sure Fox is better than Hero at this point. Hero is balling. But anyways, even if it's not Hero, I would trade in Nikola Jovic. I would trade Kalu. I would trade Jaime Jaquez. I would trade all the kids to get another guy who can come in here right now and try to win a championship with Jimmy Butler. So that's where I stand. But that being said, I don't think Jimmy can be mad he hasn't got his extension when he hasn't been available. That's just my opinion on all of this. Anyways, that's pretty much all I got to say for this video. I'll refresh Twitter one more time here just to see if there's anything new. But no, I don't see anything new here yet. So anyways, let me know y'all thoughts down below. Do you think Jimmy Butler ultimately ends up getting moved? And if so, do you want him gone? And if you want him gone, what package would you like to see him? What team would you like to see him go to? Anyways, that's really all I got to say for this video. Let me know y'all thoughts down below. And Merry Christmas to everyone as well. If you could give me the beautiful gift of subscribing to help me hit 6K subs, I'd greatly appreciate it. Make sure to like and comment as well, because all that stuff boosts the algorithm. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.
Look, pull up in your city trying to get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.